Hey everyone, welcome. I am your host, Ray Ireland, and you are listening to the Soul Aligned podcast, where we help high achieving leaders and driven visionaries do what you love and live your purpose. So, welcome. I'm so excited. Today we have an amazing guest, Devani, here, and we're going to be talking about how to expand your business by listening to your soul. So let me introduce Devani for a second. And, I met this beautiful woman, I guess it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, at an event, and just totally loved her radiant energy. And so Devani is known to many as an intuitive business and marketing strategist that helps women to grow their businesses with soul aligned strategies. And perfect to be on the Soul Aligned show. So she helps women entrepreneurs to confidently fill their offerings with soulmate clients by harnessing the power of magnetic messaging, online visibility, paid ads, lucrative launching, and energy alignment. And she infuses her marketing wisdom, intuition, and energy work to support clients' results. In addition, Devani also runs a boutique social media and Facebook agency supporting clients with high-level done-for-you services. So there's clearly a lot of wisdom in this woman, and I'm so excited to hear from you how you've listened to your own soul to expand your business and businesses, because you kind of have a few things going on. So I would love to just hear a little bit about your journey and how you became this boss babe that you are today.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. So a little bit about my journey. I would say my days of being an entrepreneur started out of high school. I went to beauty school and I became a hairstylist, and I was an independent contractor, and I did that for about 6 years. And I decided that I wanted to do and be more. I was like, if I think about myself being 50 and doing hair, it didn't light me up. And I am a soul. I've been put a soul in this lifetime of like, I crave freedom. My last name is Freeman, right? So I was like, what is that? What does that look like? And I allowed myself to kind of dream and also go on Craigslist and see what sounded fun. And I landed a job as being a legal receptionist, and I still did hair one day on the side. I'm a manifesting generator. So as manifesting generators, we always have our hands in multiple things. And then I realized, okay, lawyers are not fun. Family law was like horrible, but it led me to getting a job at this marketing company. And I had no experience whatsoever, but what I had was a willingness to like give it my all. And I said, if you give me this job, I will be one of your hardest workers you've ever had. Had no idea what I was getting myself into. I've never done marketing, except for a little bit of like flyers and, texting clients, things like that, to build my hair business. And I got trained, I got accepted, and I learned all about sales, traditional advertising. I learned how to sell yellow page ads, which was like so foreign and dinosaur. I was selling like online search engine marketing, all these sorts of things. It moved from inside to outside sales. And I used a lot of my intuition, a lot of my soul wisdom through that experience. And then about 2 years into it, I realized I did not like corporate America. I was not cut out for corporate America. And I was like, get me out of here. And so that's when I was like, I got this intuitive light bulb that was like, what if I just got a handful of clients that I started managing their social media? I'd started a home-based business on the side when I was doing that business, and I started learning all about entrepreneurship and leadership and social media and lead generation and attraction marketing. And I was doing it for myself in this home-based business. And I was like, wow, why aren't more small businesses doing this? And so I took the leap, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done. It felt like I was like jumping out of this safety net and I was just free falling. I didn't have a lot of savings built up. Definitely not something I recommend for the faint of heart. I literally like jumped and held my breath. And, it's been an interesting ride. I feel like you find your strides as an entrepreneur and really find your momentum, at least for me, in like year 3. It's like year 1, you're like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even understand what I'm doing. And like, you're spending all this time on the busy work to avoid the real work of actually getting yourself out there and making offers and making sales and being visible. And then after you work through all the blocks that are in the way, because entrepreneurship is like the best personal growth course you could ever do, then you start to step into your power. And so, I grew my social media agency. I grew a team. It morphed into Facebook ads. And I also built another side of my company of then coaching and mentoring women on how to grow their businesses using social media as well. So my business has morphed into a lot of different things, but have had 2 different verticals, which has been really exciting. Not for everyone. Again, definitely more of a manifesting generator type of thing. But has worked really well for me. I don't like to have all my eggs in one basket.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about soul, and just to kind of give some context to the listeners, how do you define soul for you?
Yeah. So how I define soul is like my higher self. It's like a wisdom that is higher. It is my most wise part of me is my soul. And it guides me. It is always with me. It is always there for my highest good. It will never steer me wrong. It is a feeling in my body. Like I have just goosebumps as I'm talking about my soul. It can hear me. And it also, pushes you where you need to go. But I feel that soul, like we are here as souls in a human body, but we are energetic souls that are all trying to figure out this human experience that's filled with all these crazy emotions and things. And it's quite the adventure.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting. And I talk with my clients about this all the time. It's like, this is the greatest adventure you could go on, is starting your business, especially when you're starting a business that is what I call a soul aligned business, because it means that you're putting that like core essence of who you are and what you stand for in the world and what you value literally out in the front of what you are selling, which, like, when you get into that selling territory, there's so many old stories and beliefs that you have to work through. And I know that you've definitely gone through that yourself. And so like what would you say was like the most challenging part for you in terms of like listening to your soul while you were growing your business? Like, was it difficult to connect with the vision, or what was challenging about that? Instead of just doing like any business that could make you the money that you wanted.
Yeah. So, well, I would say that I won't speak for everyone, but I know this is very common, is like trusting the soul guidance is extremely difficult. And for a long time, I didn't trust my soul's guidance. In ways that I did, but I would always fight it. I was very much in my head, overthinking, analyzing things, and then often relying on coaches to tell me what to do versus trusting myself. And, I went through a big journey the last 4 years of getting off of antidepressants that I was on for 20 years. And if anyone that's listening to this is familiar with antidepressants, or those that love, alcohol or whatever is, forms are to numb us out, because I believe that most entrepreneurs are empaths and highly sensitive and very gifted. that I couldn't feel my soul wisdom as much. Like I couldn't feel my compass of my soul wisdom, which is my body. I couldn't allow those intuitive downloads to come in. And so through that journey and through that awakening process, I started to realize, okay, business coaches are great. Like I consider myself a coach and strategist, but they are only going to be able to guide you to a degree. Like I had to be able to learn how to trust myself and trust where I was going. So there was a pivotal moment in my business where I actually let go of all my coaches. And it was the first time where I was like, I need to listen to myself. And I didn't listen during like a 6-month period. I didn't read any books. I didn't listen to any podcasts. I didn't consume any content. Like I had to completely like clear like the computer programming in order for me to find my own voice and vision. And so that's when my business had changed. And I realized some of the services that I was offering were not in soul alignment. I had so much heaviness and resistance, and I didn't realize it. And if you're experiencing that in business, like a little resistance is good. That means you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. Shit's going to be crazy. Like it's going to be scary. Like you're doing stuff and you're like not sure what you're doing fully. But if it's really heavy in the body, like really heavy, and you've got this feeling that's like something doesn't feel right, it's usually because it's not soul aligned. And that's when I had to make that decision and actually let a good chunk of my company go, and was very scary. But as soon as I did, like all this flood of business and opportunities came in because I closed the door to allow a new one to open. So it was a big pivotal moment that I had in 2017.
Wow, that's huge. And I think that's something that I only hear from certain coaches, being in the coaching, personal development, business development space. There are a few coaches, and I fully 100% agree. I've actually done the same, where I've let go of all of my coaches to come back to that center point. And so I'm curious, from your standpoint, after going through that and then seeing the growth and like maybe that truth and that resonance that happened from that, and also kind of holding this counterpiece of like, you're also a coach. So what is that like balance act, and when should someone listen to like, okay, I need to like let go of everything, and then when is it important to actually welcome in that sort of support and guidance from an outside source such as a coach?
Yeah, really good question. So I think it's always good to have a coach, but you'll feel when that expiration is been hit with that coach, right? Because as you continue to do the inner work and you continue to grow with your visibility, with your money, with your mindset, all of those sort of things, you will start to raise your frequency. And so you'll start to feel whether the coaches that you are working with are in alignment with that, or if they're with old energy, right? There's also looking at, do you just need one that's specialized in a particular skill set or an area? Maybe it's not like business coaching, but maybe you need sales, or maybe you need like inner energy alignment work, or whatever that looks like. So I'm always like, okay, where are my gaps? Where are my weaknesses? Where do I want to get better? What are new things that I want to do, that I want to learn the fastest path possible, which I know I can learn the fastest path possible, whether it's working with a coach or buying their course. And then assessing at that point. So, and then making sure that you've got a really good group of like business besties that you can bounce off ideas. You're helping to promote each other's stuff. Like that's really important. So you don't feel like you're all alone in the trenches. So I would say like, it's always good to have some sort of coach and support, but it's figuring out what area, and is that person in full alignment with where you're at? Are they empowering you to follow your soul's guidance versus telling you this is what you should do, or this is what you should do? Like one of the main things that I do is helping women with launching. And there's so many different ways to launch. Yes, I have a formula that like works really good, but I'm asking them questions to figure out how they work and what lights them up with how they show up online, to make sure that that's completely customized for how they're best going to shine, like how to support them in the best way versus a cookie cutter strategy. So you definitely want to interview your coaches in depth and figure out who's aligned. But I think having a coach is really important, because even with like working out, like we'll never push ourselves to that place that's uncomfortable without a coach. And that's the beauty, and someone who can show you your blind spots.
Absolutely. It can be so helpful when it's that perfect alignment and you're able to feel that like resonance that someone gets you and allows you to have that space of just creating your unique business and not just like another cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. What would you say to someone, and this is something that, at the beginning of my journey, I definitely went through this all the time. I'm like, is this fear speaking, or is this my soul or intuition speaking? And kind of getting a little bit confused on what to listen to and when.
Yeah.
Do you have any insight that you'd like to share around that? And maybe what has helped you kind of be able to define which is which?
Yes. A really good question. So the first thing is never responding immediately. If you don't have a clear like yes from the beginning, then I know that I have to sit on it, that I have to give it time, that I have to ask my soul, ask source, ask the universe for guidance. So I'll journal about that, or I'll just ask for guidance. You don't even have to journal. Like you just ask for guidance. Like, show me a sign, show me if this is in alignment, and allow yourself to lean back. If you feel pressure from time, that's just an illusion. And if you feel pressure around something, usually that's a no. It should flow, it should feel easy, and it should feel lined up like very easy. If there's a lot of time or contraction, then usually that is a little bit of a sign that's no. Then I asked my body. So again, I used to not be connected to my body because it was turned off. And we have so much wisdom in our body, especially as women. And you have so much wisdom that's coming from your womb. And if you close your eyes, and I love to do this like laying flat on a bed, close your eyes and you ask your body to show you, have you feel a yes in your body, and then ask what a no. And oftentimes a yes will feel like expansion and opening, and a no is going to feel like a little bit of a contraction. You can also do this exercise standing up, and you can notice a no will be maybe a tilt back and a yes will be a tilt up, or the opposite direction. And then you can say, is my name Devani? And then see if you get a yes or no. So you're kind of testing. It's like using your body as a pendulum. And I use this all the time to ask questions. And I actually teach this in one of my classes. And I tell my students, like, start by using it in fun ways of like, what should I wear today? Or should I eat this food? Is it good for my body? And start to learn how to feel those yes and no's in your system. And then often too, if something's like a yes in full alignment, I'll get goosebumps and I'll get all excited and I'm like, oh, this is such a yes. But often it's not as clear, when we're in business and then we've got our analytical mind. And usually it's like that first reaction is usually the best one, because then the ego, then the mind steps in and tries to tell you why it's not going to work and why you shouldn't trust in it. And so that's why it's still good to give yourself time, but to discern whether you're listening to that mind versus are you listening to your body? Are you feeling into your womb? Are you really asking for that soul guidance and allowing yourself to receive the answers? And I like to remind everyone is that we are being so divinely guided on our path in this lifetime. All of us, like, you can't do anything wrong. If you get off path, you will always be somehow steered back. Even if you're like, stay off and off, you will get hit over by a sledgehammer. The universe is going to be like, you need to pay attention to this, and that's like the major breakdowns that come in. And you're like, what happened? My whole life is falling apart. It's a redirection. So I like to be like, when I say that, it like almost allows the body to relax a little bit of like, babe, you can't do anything wrong. You can't mess it up. just choose a decision, because choosing a decision moves you forward. So while it's great to take time and listen to the body, then choose and trust that it was the right decision, because whatever you choose will be the right decision, because you're always going to be redirected back to your soul purpose in this lifetime.
Mm, absolutely. I love those pieces. And yeah, there's so much body wisdom that we can utilize to help us differentiate what voice is really speaking. Is it coming from that empowered space or that fear? And I think it's interesting that you shared the pressure piece in the beginning, because something that I experience is sometimes the pressure is this like pressure of knowing that I I that I feel like I want to do it, but this pressure of like coming back to that trusting piece and feeling like I don't know if I can. And like
Mhm.
I've known this to be a pattern for myself, and I see it in a lot of clients where sometimes that pressure, it we feel the pressure, and so then we say, okay, I'm just going to put that in one box. And one of my favorite quotes of all time is like, excitement is just, or fear is excitement not breathed into. Like
Yes.
when we can tap into our body, like what you shared, and our breath, then it actually kind of can open up and release some of maybe the fog, or the way that we kind of put something in a box, can let it go, so that way we can see, okay, what's truthfully here.
Yeah.
Am I actually just excited and I'm feeling pressure of like, wow, this is going to be a big step for me, like I'm doing something totally new and different? Or is it pressure of like, no, this is not aligned? So I love that you brought that up. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so one of my last questions, and I'm curious, and I'm sure that other viewers are curious too, like you have so much going on, and I know a lot of the other viewers, they probably have a lot going on themselves, or there's someone that like knows that they want to have more going on, but there might be some fear around like managing that and balancing it. So how do you balance getting stuff done, being the boss babe that you are, like having your hands in all these different pieces? And I can really relate to that with like, because I have my art, my music, my dance, and then my business. So
Yeah.
in a similar space. But how do you stay balanced in your everyday, listening to your soul and being like, okay, tuning in with those feminine frequencies, and being on top of being a boss babe, and basically not getting like pushed into the wind if you're listening too much to your soul? Like, how do you still get stuff done? What does that balance look like for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Because I've been on a journey in finding that dance, right? When I first started my business, I was very much in the masculine and the hustle, and I was like obsessed and probably a little bit addicted to work. I was like, it was in this energy of like, have to get to this goal, have to get to this goal. And leaving no time for fun, no time for balance, no time for life, all of that sort of things. And then eventually, most of the time our soul hits a burnout, whether that's a body breakdown, adrenal fatigue, or just our soul is like, I can't do this anymore. And so I went through that experience as well, which was beautiful to find how do I do that dance between the masculine go-getter and the feminine energy. And so I say that I'm always trying to find that dance. So I am really mindful on how I schedule my calendar. So I am not overbooking myself. I'm only taking client sessions and doing things on like 3 days a week max, to allow myself for that space. I'm always making sure I don't overbook myself. So I'm still got 2 hours of meetings, appointments, or 3 hours, and then I got an hour of just doing nothing. I'm meditating, I'm just being. Fridays I try not to schedule anything, to allow myself to just be and have that balance, because I also had to work through feeling guilt of not working. I brought a lot of guilt into this lifetime. I actually healed it through a past life regression treatment, which past life regression is amazing. And So we have these underlying feelings that come about in business that drive us, right? Whether that's guilt, whether that's ego, whether that's scarcity, all these things. And so finding what that is and finding the healthy version of that. So what drives me now is like my legacy, is my vision. It's like helping. And every time I feel that guilt in there, I tell myself that rest is super productive. Rest is super productive, because when I rest and I allow myself to meditate, I allow myself to go for a walk, dance, play, work out, like I'm keeping my soul in alignment. When your soul is in alignment, you can be open to receiving clients, opportunities, things just flow. But when you're constantly working too much, you're not allowing for art, you're not allowing for fun, you're not allowing for creativity, it doesn't work. But if we're too much in the feminine, we're too much in the creativity, we're too much in the non-structure, it's hard for us to actually move our business forward. So we need the merge of the masculine and feminine in a really healthy way. And it's a dance. It's constantly a dance. You know, if you're like in a launch and you're pushing to sell something out, you're going to be a lot in your masculine. And I coach my clients, how can you bring in more dance, more play while you're doing that? Knowing that you have time for all. So that's another thing, is like, we can always feel like we don't have enough time for all the things. So my answer is, it's just it's a constant decision and awareness, being aware about it. And I also know, for me, I learned that I'm very sensitive to the moon. So like, I know when it's a full moon, I'm going to be a little bit more tired. How can I schedule my schedule when I'm, going to have my period? Like how can I schedule a lighter schedule? So I'm working with my feminine wisdom, our hormones, our energy, that we only have access to. So I'm not having to reach into my resources that are going to drain me even deeper. So it's a combination. And then of course, having team, like investing in team, even if your business isn't that far along, do what you can. Put that risk out there by investing in someone, because it will get you to stop doing just the busy work and start doing the things that are going to actually make sales. And that was one thing I did early on, was I started investing in team, even when I wasn't making that much money. And now, I've got, a team of 7 people, all contractors, some working full-time, some part-time, but I would never be where I'm at without team. And letting go of control, of knowing that other people can actually do things better than me. I can show them my way and processes, but then allow them to be in their zone of genius and give wealth to the economy by providing others with income.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I think it's just so inspiring to see, how to really harness our feminine power and connect with the moon and bring these like really fun, playful qualities into business and allow that to guide. And I think a lot of times I was at least raised with like, if you have too much feminine energy, then it's not going to help your business grow. You need to like charge up, get masculine, go for it, push through. And that's how you grow your business. But I think there actually is this shift in paradigm of being able to tune in and tap into your soul, those feminine qualities, and actually use that to help expand the business. So
Yeah.
super fun. And I'm so glad that you're on this podcast with me. Is there any last messages that you'd like to share to anyone that might be kind of questioning how to follow their soul and expanding their business?
I just want to encourage everyone to trust themselves, to know that you are the most powerful oracle you can be for yourself, is your soul guidance, is your soul wisdom. And it can come through in many ways, through messages, through visions, through dreams, through little ahas, synchronicities. And the more that you start working with this energy and asking to work with your soul guidance and start making that intention, the more you'll start to see little beautiful things unfold. And you'll start to feel into that support. So the first step is making that intention and just knowing and stepping into the belief that your soul is wise and that you can trust yourself, and look for others that are also like-minded, because sisterhood is everything, especially on this journey as soul-driven entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Oh, love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Devani. Really appreciate that. And thank you to everyone that's checking out this video. Please subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet, if you want to check out more videos. And we will see you all next time. Have a good one. Listen to
Bye.
people.